Okay, so I was browsing through some of my old Fallout 4 videos, and I noticed that most of them were weapon restricted runs. That's not necessarily a bad thing, people like them, they're okay to play, and honestly, they're easy to come up with. Like, I just think of a weapon, I think of a restriction, boom, I've got a run. Well, the thing is, this time, I wanted to play Fallout 4 because recently I've been feeling a bit down when it comes to recording, and I want to have fun again. Well, the thing is, when it comes to actually creating somewhat creative runs, I'm about as creative as a Disney writing team. Unfortunately, what this means is it took me a really long time to come up with a run, and I actually gave up for a bit and started just doing weapon restricted runs. I mean, they worked out, they were fine. Well, anyways, while I booted up Fallout 4 today because I knew I wanted to play it, I went into the settings to see what I could do, and that's when I saw it. HUD opacity. Not just that, I can mess with the HUD, and I can in fact make it completely invisible. Now, this is a remarkably stupid idea. I mean, this is a bad idea. Why would I do it? I mean, it's probably not possible. Okay, so booting up the game, I actually have to do the pre-war segment for once in my life, and that's because I got an Xbox Series X recently, and I haven't actually done a Fallout 4 run on it. Well, anyways, I haven't done the pre-war segment in about 10 months, so it was actually kind of nice to revisit it. Anyways, I don't have too much to talk about, it's a pre-war segment. As a matter of fact, you don't even get access to your HUD in here. After dawdling for a bit, Pennsylvania and New York get blown off the face of the earth, it's time to run from the nukes and I enter the vault. As soon as I'm inside, I popsicle myself, watched Frosted Flakes blast what's-her-name's head off, and then he steals Hexababy. I have been playing way too much Pokemon recently. Anyways, once I get outside of the glorified refrigerator, I try to dodge the Radroaches because I was hoping to never play the pre-war segment of Fallout 4 again, but I failed and I ended up gun bashing a few. That's mainly because finally my non-HUD comes into place, as I can't see my health, I can't see my AP, I can't see my rads, I can't see my crosshair, and that's about it. I also decided to blacken out my Pip-Boy because I thought it'd be kind of fun. It wasn't. Believe me, it was one of the worst things. First off, blackening out your Pip-Boy blackens out terminals. That may not sound like a huge deal, except when you go into a terminal and you're completely blind. That's right, for the entire run, I had no idea what was going on with terminals. As you can imagine, that made hacking a literal nightmare. Anyways, that doesn't really come into play now, so I killed the last of the roaches, picked up my Pip-Boy, and oh god, the Pip-Boy. Yes, it's completely black, and that was a nightmare. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I turned my Pip-Boy on and off during this entire run. Not so I could see my guns, not so I could heal myself, mainly because I couldn't see the map. And although I've played this game over a dozen times, and have the southern Boston area etched somewhere in my brain, I have no clue what happens outside of that area. I did need the map a couple times, especially since I did a lot of side quests during this run. As soon as I was out free in the wasteland, I turned the game mode to survival because I figured, hey, I've done it 4 times, I'd failed 4 times, well clearly it's gonna work now. Yeah, as you can imagine, I once again quit around Vault 114. I don't know why I keep doing this, I mean, I've done it literally on my past 4 runs and I haven't figured out that I can't do it. Yet every run I'm like, oh, this one's gonna be the one, I'm gonna do survival this run. Stop it. I know one of you are typing out the definition of insanity right now. Cut it out. Anyways, once I was free from the vault, I started doing a bit of prep because I actually really wanted to do survival this run. Once again, it doesn't work out. I'm just going to say that now because then a bunch of you are going to yell at me. The prep I did was pretty simple. I just got myself to a level where I could access some intelligent perks like Gun Nut, so I could mod my 10mm pistol. Because I was a little afraid of changing my guns out at first. That was mainly because I hadn't discovered a method of actually navigating my Pip-Boy yet. I discovered it in Sanctuary, that's a good thing. I could actually inspect an item and that lets me see it. It's a little weird and it's really slow, but it allows me to change my guns and that's all that matters. Well, after a little bit of grinding, I got an automatic 10mm pistol, so I went to Conquer to see if I could clear out the raiders. I was able to, of course. But one of the things I'd like to note is that the automatic 10mm is so good in this game. Like honestly, it's a bit of an ammo chugger, but during the opening segments, it just makes everything so much easier. I blasted my way straight through all the raiders and conquered, and things didn't really go south until, of course, to Deathclaw. Now, Big Lizard number 14, I want to say this is Big Lizard number 14, let me check real quick. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Big Lizard number 13 was real trouble. I mean, it's a Deathclaw, how bad can this be? Very. Although I do have access to weapons, I can't see enemy health bars, so I have no idea if the raiders actually managed to damage the Deathclaw. So I just assumed that I was fighting it at full health, and I treated it like that. I hid in the buildings, shot it with my laser musket, until I got tired and started blasting it with the shotgun. It eventually went down, and I'm glad I didn't die while I was fighting it, so that was nice. Once inside the museum, I told Preston to go to hell because I'm not siding him with this time, as since most of this run is going to rely completely on my memory, it's either Brotherhood or Institute, because they're the only factions I really play in this game. Realizing my run was about to head south, I decided to be the bigger man and head there first. So I started making my way to Diamond City and by extension Vault 114. I didn't actually do anything in Diamond City. I went there originally planning to buy some ammo, but it seems inflation hit Fallout 4 too because I couldn't actually afford any ammo, so instead I headed straight to Vault 114. At first, Vault 114 was going better than any of my other survival runs combined, and that was because I still had the automatic 10mm. The first couple triggermen actually went down really easily because I could use it to just burn through their health bars. I've mentioned this a million times, the train room is by far the worst in Vault 114. I had a laser musket which could one-shot most triggermen. There are a few outliers, mainly the ones in suspenders and slacks, but that's because they get a health boost. Either way, I'm getting way too deep into this. After many attempts, I finally burned through those triggermen and actually made it inside the vault. The vault was going beautifully. I mean, I was running through the triggermen, I was dodging bullets, I was killing people. It was going great, and then it wasn't. That one room, you know the one I'm talking about, the one that's like underground and it's like a construction site, and there's just like 8 triggermen in this tiny little room off to the side. That thing was the bane of my existence. I can run through it, but the thing is, all the triggermen are going to follow me down to the vault, the lower levels of the vault, mind you, and as soon as I go through the door, they just blast me. I can't kill them because I'm a chicken. Oh, my voice died a little. I can't kill them because I'm a chicken, so this is where I quit. Now, this was a very sped up version. I actually attempted that many times. But after a bit, I just realized one thing. Fallout 4 is my all-time favorite game. Out of all the Fallouts, out of every game, mind you, Fallout 4 is my top number 1. I just think it's a good mixture of story and gameplay, as well as graphics, so that makes it just my favorite. But the thing is, I don't like survival all that much. I like to tell myself I like survival, because then I feel cool, but I don't. So in the end of the day, I'd rather have fun with my favorite Fallout than try to pretend that I'm good at the game, so I quit survival. I'm telling you guys, one of these days I'm gonna do a run where I actually make it. It's just not today, and probably not for a couple years. Either way, with survival off, I just managed to burn straight through the last of the triggermen. Dino got his head blown off. I think he did, he usually gets his head blown off. And then me and Nick made our way through the rest of the vault. I had a couple Molotov cocktails, so skinny was super easy. And once outside, I talked to Nick, and made my way back to Diamond City. I didn't feel like going too much into detail about the stuff with Nick, so I did them. I also raided Kellogg's Pantry. With Vault 114 and Nick saved already this early, I had something I've never had in a Fallout 4 run for a little while. Time. I could actually sit back and mess around with a few side quests. The first one I decided to do was Diamond City Blues. Now Diamond City Blues isn't really hard. I was a little scared because it's another encounter with Triggermen, and I was starting to run out of ammo, so I was a little worried, but honestly the payout's worth it. Mainly because I get a lot of drugs, I mean chems. Like a lot of chems. Now the main reason I wanted this was because I had heard good things about the Spray and Pray. Now Spray and Pray is a set legendary in the game that's sold by one of the traveling merchants, and I've never touched it. Apparently it's really good, and so I wanted to try it to see if it was actually that good. And so I decided the best way to get money was just chem running. Anyways, the triggermen weren't all that bad because I had grenades, so I just cleared them out, stole all the chems, and then made my way to Vault 81 because apparently that's one of Cricket, that's the vendor, stops. So I figured if I just sat around there for a little while, she'd eventually show up. She did. Now I was a little skeptical when I bought Spray and Pray because it's really expensive, so I thought it wouldn't be worth it. And I mean, it's a submachine gun, one of the worst guns in the game. How can this gun be that good? Yeah, no, Spray and Pray is the best set legendary in all of Fallout 4. No one can tell me otherwise. Like, I don't even know what clip I'm showing right now because I do audio first, but I can tell you with full confidence that Spray and Pray is just destroying whatever's in that clip. Once again, Spray and Pray is the best weapon in Fallout 4. I decided that I would take Spray and Pray to Fort Hagen just to test how good it was, and once again, it's really good. I mean, the poor synths didn't even know what hit them. Now, synths have really brittle limbs, so they could actually break without you killing them, and Spray and Pray shows that. Like, every single synth, I just had to aim at the ground near them, and I just blow their legs off. You have no idea how many meat rockets I made in this run. Like, it was absurd. And then there was Kellogg. Oh, poor Kellogg. He really didn't stand a chance. Like, the synths didn't stand a chance. Why would he? Anyways, Kellogg got blown to pieces so quickly, I honestly didn't even know when I killed him. I used Jet twice, and so I just sped through the room, and it literally took me a moment to register that he was already dead. The synths didn't last much longer, and the only real damage they did was Kellogg's terminal. I didn't remember the order the crap was in there, so I got lost in the void for a bit. After clearing out Fort Hagen, I managed to flawlessly make my way to Goodneighbor, mainly because my knowledge of Fallout 4 was finally kicking into gear. Once there, Finn got his legs blown off, and then I went to the memory den to, do memory den things. Once outside, I realized I was making really good time this run. Honestly, too good of time, so I decided to slow down and finally answer Kent's call for help. I've left him hanging on enough of these runs that I think it's time I finally do the Silver Shroud questline again. In complete honesty, I haven't done this one in a really long time, but I still have the opening bits etched into my brain. First, I had to actually get the costume for the Silver Shroud, which meant going through Hubris Comics, which is a little ways from Goodneighbor. Once again, I have the main part of Boston memorized, so I was able to make my way there with no problem. And I had to face off against a lot of ghouls. Ghouls aren't really a problem, as they're so brittle I could just meat rocket them as soon as they come into my line of sight. Once I grabbed the costume, I made my way back to Goodneighbor, gave it to Kent, and then he made me a superhero. Poor Goodneighbor didn't know what was about to hit them. I beat Kent to literally every villain, and blasted their legs off before they can even react. Worst of all, I was making more rounds than I was spending, mainly because Triggermen are kind of a common enemy in Goodneighbor. Anyways, the only one that actually posed a threat was Kendra, and that's because she's somewhere. I have no idea where she was, and I actually had to turn my Pip-Boy back on just to access my map to find her. I don't see this as cheating. I mean, the Pip-Boy wasn't in the original rules. That's something I added on, and I only use the map. I didn't switch my weapons or anything. Why would I need to? I have spray and pray. Anyways, once I did find her, she got blasted to bits because once again, spray and pray. I almost messed up by forgetting to put a calling card on her, which meant I would have had to find her building again, but luckily I didn't. That's when Hancock tells you to find some other dudes, and this is where I had to turn the Pip-Boy on long term. This is simply because they're scattered in unmarked locations on the map, so finding them would have been absolutely painful without the Pip-Boy. I eventually did find them, and they're in pretty tight-knit groups, so once again, no troubles. Except for Northy, who's one of the random gang leaders. The reason I say he's trouble is because as soon as you get near him, Northy will run. And the thing is, since I can't view the marker that usually floats above his head telling you where he goes, I can't track him. He almost locked me out of the questline if he had just kept running. The thing is, I don't think he could leave the area, because as soon as I started making my way out, he made his way back to the building that I found him in originally, and so I just killed him. Honestly, had he kept running or stayed where he was at, he would have lived. Anyways, after the gang leaders were all dead, I came back to Goodneighbor to learn that Kent got stolen, and now I have to go get him back. Once again, I'm directed to a random place in the map, but luckily I was able to find it through the help of cheating. St. John's gang, St. John's the bad guy by the way, is entirely made up of raiders, so they're not exactly trouble, and although St. John himself is pretty tough, the real pain came from Kent. You see, I've already come to terms with the fact that I'm gonna have to turn Mr. Cannoli into another meat rocket. I decided to show some mercy by killing him with my pistol before I blew his body to bits, mainly because I wanted the special dialogue. I did get the dialogue, by the way. It just came from St. John's corpse, which was bizarre. With Kent out of the world, life is not worth living. Goodneighbor's life, that is. As soon as I turned in the quest, I blasted all of Goodneighbor to pieces. Decided to run a bit of an experiment though. I thought it might be cool, you know? You see, spray and pray destroys limbs, we've already established that. But the thing is, I was curious. I have not battled any robots up until this point. Not that I was worried about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure the spray and pray will just do the same thing to them that it does to everybody else. But the main thing I was curious about was Cleo. You see, Fallout 4 is perfectly balanced in every way. You see, if you leave an area, even if you were hostile to the people that lived there, there's a pretty good chance they just won't be hostile anymore. What I'm saying is I blew off one of Cleo's legs and then left. Well, that is after I killed everyone else. I was curious if after I came back in a little bit, if Cleo would just be standing the way she normally does, or if she's gonna be crawling or something. I don't know, maybe I just locked myself out of Goodneighbor permanently. With nothing left to distract me, I decided it was finally time to make my way to the glowing sea. Well, first I took a little bit of a detour, mainly because I got lost. Now the only reason I'm mentioning this is because while I was traveling there, I got into this random encounter with these two people that were talking about sandwiches, but I could care less about that. What I really care about is leopard print. One of them happened to be wearing a leopard print bandana. For those of you who don't know, that is the rarest piece of clothing in the game, and I managed to just randomly grab it just because I got lost. After I disposed of both of them, I took the bandana, and now I have the rarest piece of clothing in the game, the best gun in the game, the best looks in the game. So essentially I'm perfect. Well anyways, with my bandana, I was finally ready to go to the glowing sea, so that was exciting. I mean, it's no leopard print bandana, but it's something, you know. Now I'm gonna shoot you straight here. I got lost in the glowing sea, like a lot. I somehow approached from the northern end, ended up all the way at the southern end, but got completely lost and winded up on the eastern end. I don't even know how I did that, I just did. After finally sucking up my pride and opening up my Pip-Boy, I realized I was in the completely wrong direction, and made my way to Virgil's cave, which was just a nightmare. Through some act of God, I managed to find it, so I was able to talk to Virgil and get all that ball rolling, but still, it was horrible. There's no way to beat around that, it was horrible. Well, after talking to Virgil, I get sent to Green Tech, aka the best part of the game. Now, I've said this a million times, I love Green Tech, it's such a fun combat experience for Fallout 4, and in the end of the day, that's what Fallout 4 is. Shooting. Green Tech was, well, it was serotonin, that's what that was. The poor gunners didn't stand a chance. Like the synths, I was just blasting my way through there. Even the strongest gunners in the building couldn't last a few seconds of firing, so I don't have all that much to say about Green Tech. If there's one thing you should pull away from this experience, it's that spray and pray is a gift from the heavens. Well, anyways, I decided to branch out a bit when I fought the Courser, because I picked up an automatic laser musket, which is kind of a rare gun, and I thought it might be cool to shoot at the Courser. It sucked. Once again, I switched to spray and pray and destroyed the Courser. With the chip in hand, I decided to go decode it, and oh yeah, I already destroyed the railroad, but that's like saying the sky is blue. Instead of dwelling on that though, I'm gonna do something a bit different. It's been a little while since I've had a match with Swan, and I decided it might be fun to take him out. Now before we get to all that exciting stuff about me killing Swan and then you guys all cheering, I need to talk about something. Lately with these runs, I've been feeling a little dejected when it comes to recording. Not just the actual video, but audio especially. This is the first video in a couple weeks that I've been able to record audio on time, just because every time I should be recording audio, I'm kind of just like, I don't want to record right now. I don't want to make video right now. Honestly, the reason I think this is an issue is because recently I've been rushing my runs out, and that's not something I've been happy with because I feel like my videos take a hit, my commentary takes a hit, and altogether, everything just doesn't feel the same. For this video, I decided I would take my time. And I decided in order to do that and actually keep up with my upload schedule, because I don't want to change to like posting once every 2 weeks or something, I like to keep posting once a week, by splitting some of my challenge runs up. It doesn't necessarily have to be all of them, and this might not even stick, it's just I want to actually post content that I enjoy, and that you guys can enjoy. So I decided, for a little while at least, I'm going to be splitting up some of my challenge runs. So what I'm saying basically is, if you guys aren't exactly following along, this video is going to come out, but it's not going to be the entire game. Next week, or maybe the week after, I'm going to post a follow-up video that finishes this challenge. Well anyways, far too much rambling as always, big chicken. Bless him, he was doing his best. The poor guy was hopeless from the start. I mean, he was awake, and he still got blown to pieces in seconds. Well anyways, that's the run. So once again, the next part of this video should be coming out next week, if not the week after, so you guys shouldn't have to wait too long. Another thing I'd like to mention, I might have mentioned this in a community post, I honestly don't know yet, and that is I've been thinking of branching out just a little bit. I'm not saying I'm going to stop doing challenge videos, I'm just saying I kind of want to do a few extra games. Let me know if there's any games that you guys want to see in particular. Just so you know though, I'm probably going to have to do a practice run on some of them, because the only other games I've seen are freaking Dark Souls games, and if there's anything you should pick off my channel is that I'm trash at video games. Anyways, my dogs are going absolutely crazy right now, so I'm just going to end this video. Regardless, that's all I have time for in today's video. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing, otherwise I'll catch you in the next one.